Welcome, citizens of Gotham, to The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast focusing on all things The Dark Knight and the DC Universe. If you'd like to connect with the show, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and Blue Sky. Just search tfrbatpod. And if you have thoughts, questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes of the show, you can reach us by email. Just shoot those emails to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. My name is Eric Carter, and I am your host, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joe Fornerato. Joe, it's been a very busy summer, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. How's it going? Yeah, it's definitely been busy. How's it going for you? We haven't gotten to talk in a while.
Yeah. The last time we actually recorded was in Baltimore, Maryland, several weeks ago when we met to watch Superman together. And yeah, it's just been so much stuff going on between just summer trips and getting ready for back to school, and because that's a thing. And yeah, it's just been nuts. But we found some time to carve out to sit down and chat about comic books. Yeah, it has.
I said before, I don't even know what we're talking about. I think you're going to kind of guide me in a direction and we're going to go from there.
Yes, yeah. So we are here to kind of have an unofficial chat, way too early chat about the state of the DCU. It's really too early to get in those conversations since the first movie in the universe just launched, but it's fandom. That's what we do, right? So we're going to talk about it. But before we get there, Joe, I've actually got some news, and I don't think I told you about this. You may have already seen it, but we have some big news with sponsor related stuff. So Organic Price Books has been our partner sponsor for a couple of years now. We've been working with them. Well, Organic Price Books, at least in name, is no more. Organic Price Books has become panel bound comics. So bad news is, I mean, the old name has gone away. The good news is, same great service, same great people that run panel bound comics, and our promo codes, tfrbatpod and tfrbatpod ship it together, remain honored. We are still partner sponsored with panel bound comics now. So if you're still looking to get those savings, everything still applies. In fact, if you go to organicpricedbooks.com, it'll still bring you to the same website. It's just it's refreshed now. It's got a new look, got a new very cool logo. I really like it. It's laid out like a comic book. So go check out panel bound comics, guys. Use our promo codes, save yourself some money as you shop, and support this show as you do so. Joe, had we even discussed this about Organic Price Books going away and becoming panel bound?
We hadn't, but I did see the news. I did see the email going out, letting everyone know that was the case. And I have to get on there and check it out because I'm going to give a quick shout out to Ryan Lauer. I did not know Batman Year 3 just got a deluxe edition. So I'm going to have to check that out on the new website.
It did. And now there's, I don't know how long they've been doing this. They may have been doing this before, and maybe I just didn't know it. But free shipping if you spend $30 on the website, and then you can still pair our promo codes with it. So I know Joe. I know you're all about free shipping.
I have a very weird hang up on free shipping, and I am the reason websites have a minimum for free shipping because I will buy things I do not need to save $4. It makes no sense, but that's what I do.
Yeah, so absolutely, and I get it. It's kind of wonky because sometimes that shipping is really expensive, especially with things like books. So, guys, go check out Panel Bound. Take a look there. I just noticed they have a collection of Justice League, 50% off Justice League collection. I don't know what's in there, but I'm going to take a look at that here in a little bit because it's 50% off for whatever's in that collection, and it's Justice League. So, got to check that out. But yeah, guys, go check out Panel Bound. Use those promo codes. But Joe, let's get into what we're here to talk about today. We are here to discuss the state of the DCU. All right, Joe. So we both know why this has come up. You and I have been kind of we've been doing rewatches to kind of get prepared for the upcoming season of Peacemaker, which, if I'm correct, I believe we're recording this on Wednesday, August 20th. I'm pretty sure tomorrow, the 21st, is when the premiere is for Peacemaker season 2. Is that right?
Yes, as far as I know, that's what it is. I don't know what time, if they're doing like the HBO thing where it's 8 o'clock, but it's HBO Max, so it might be in the morning. I'm not sure. I know it's tomorrow. They've been advertising it like crazy this week, so it's definitely tomorrow. And then I think it's Friday in some places internationally, but for us, it is definitely tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see what comes of Peacemaker. You know, if we go back in time to pre DCU, I feel like at this point, like the retroactive launch of the DCU, it kind of feels like, and I know, you know, that it's only canon if it's mentioned and things like that. Is it just me, or is it like the unofficial launch of the DCU feels like James Gunn's The Suicide Squad? Does that make sense?
That's how I've been feeling lately. Because I started my quote unquote rewatch with that film. I thought about starting with honestly, I thought about starting with Ayer's Suicide Squad, but I was like, you know what? Like, it's kind of too much of a leap to do that, and I really just didn't have the time to watch both. So I
Mm-hmm.
started with the Suicide Squad, and I mean, yeah, like it's hard to not include that with all the ramifications from that movie that lead into Peacemaker season 1.
Yeah, and not only that, because I did the same thing. I started with the Suicide Squad, and then I rewatched Peacemaker, in kind of the lead up to this new season of Peacemaker. Um, and then recently there's been, and I've been avoiding. I'll be honest with you, I've been avoiding the internet in general, like the plague, recently, because just comment sections and all that. It's just not my jam anymore. It's not fun, so I just avoid it. But I have not read them, but I've seen a bunch of articles popping up lately that there's interest in James Gunn bringing back Idris Elba as Bloodsport. I saw a headline the other day. Again, didn't read it, so don't know the the context of it. I saw him, apparently he mentioned something about Margot Robbie. I don't know if it was him saying there will never be any more Margot Harley, or we're considering bringing her back. I don't know what it was. Maybe if you know, Joe, you can fill me in. But yeah, it just
So
seems
yeah,
like
I
pieces of that world are coming back.
so with the most of these quotes have come from either interviews or the podcast for Peacemaker season 1 that James Gunn is doing. I listened to
Mm-hmm.
all 8 episodes of that podcast, and he discussed in every episode he discusses what's canon from that episode that could be used for Peacemaker season 2.
Oh,
um
this is straight from the
and it's
podcast.
essentially yes.
Gotcha.
So basically they go every episode, okay, what's canon or what isn't canon, and they'll like kind of like joke around and ask questions and here and there. um but for the most part, I think they said for season 1, or I mean, I think it was episode 1 or 2 where they mentioned Bloodsport. They specifically asked, is Bloodsport canon? And he says, yeah, I think Bloodsport's canon. And he does kind of dodge questions because he does still maintain it's canon as long as it's mentioned going forward. So he kind of toes that line a little bit. Um, but he wants to bring Idris Elba back. He has said that. The Margot Robbie thing he hasn't specified on the podcast, but he did say in an interview, someone asked him, will Margot Robbie be back? And he said, I will answer that at a later date. To
Mm.
me, it would be really hard to, at this point, with the way the Suicide Squad is so important to Peacemaker season 1 and probably what's going to be Peacemaker season 2, I personally want Margot Robbie back at this point. It seems like Gunn is treating the movies he did as canon or the projects he's done as canon as much as he can. It seems like he enjoyed working with Margot. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if the reason he's being coy, and this is me speculating 100%, I wouldn't be shocked if Harley Quinn somehow is mentioned in this season, or even if Margot Robbie cameos in this season. Because he's kind of dodging that question more so than he has other questions about what's canon and what's not. Again, my speculation 100%. If they recast her, I'm not against it. I just feel like it gets very, very, I don't know, kind of iffy if you have Idris Elba back as Bloodsport, if you have Peacemaker back from that movie, if you completely, the rumors are that Joel Kinnaman is reprising his role in Peacemaker season 2. I'm assuming in flashbacks. I don't know. But everything is directed at his, Peacemaker killing Rick Flag. It would be really weird if you just recasted Harley Quinn for this universe going forward. But I don't know. He said they're actually going to. Again, I'm kind of all over the place here, but the canon stuff was really fun to hear him talk about it. And I love the canon stuff because me personally, I don't think you should be married to canon. I think canon is whatever we want it to be. I think canon is whatever we can make sense of to better fit what we like. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like he has said, like pretty much almost everything is canon from season 1, except for obviously the Justice League thing. And he very subtly said, but we're going to address that in season 2. I don't know what that means. I'm sure there's going to be some fun thing with it. Who knows? But I'm very interested to see where he goes with that, because that's the one thing in season 1 that is really hard to just write off as not canon, because it's, it's a pretty big moment. You could just ignore it, which is what I'm fine doing. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that kind of stuff. Is it going to be a multiverse thing? Is it going to be, a crisis thing where certain things come and certain things don't? Who knows? But I think it's going to be really fun to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And first of all, it's going to be very interesting to see how they bridge the gap, like you said. I mean, how they address the Justice League from the end of Peacemaker season 1. I mean, I have a good feeling it's gonna have something to do with this quantum unfolding chamber, which we did see in season 1 because it's his dad's closet.
Yes.
But I feel like there's a little bit of multiverse shenanigans here, but I don't think it's going to be all multiverse. I think it's just going to be kind of used as a transition to get Chris from the DCEU world to the DCU world. And I think honestly, there will be a little bit of shenanigans to get it settled, and then I think that's going to be it. And we're not gonna deal with very much multiverse going forward from there, which I'm a little multiversed out, so I kind of hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, like I want them to kind of just go with it. Like I don't need everything explained. I don't care if they literally just say, "Oh, the whole Justice League showing up at that Chris made that up." Like that never actually happened. That was all in your minds. Or like they can ignore it completely for all I care. To me, it's in comics, it's like when a creative team changes, or like you made the perfect example of like New 52. Some things come, some things don't.
Yeah.
Like I can headcanon like, okay, Aquaman was there, but like was it Jason Momoa's Aquaman, or could it have been another Aquaman? Or, the reason this Aquaman in the new DCU looks different than the old DCU is because the artist changed, like that's how it is in comics. I don't need everything explained. I don't care. It happened. It is what it is. Do with it what you will. Just make season 2 fun. don't get hung up on, oh, we have to explain this because we want to do this. No, just do what you want to do. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind either if it was just as simple as this is what it is now. Like creative team change kind of thing that you mentioned. I think though with the quantum unfolding chamber, and we've seen the alternate version of Peacemaker in the trailers, I think
Mhm.
we are going to see some world flipping, and he's going to end up in a different version
Yeah.
of the universe. So I do think that's going to be the thing. But I do agree with you. If they just wanted to say, this is canon now, and we're moving on, I'd be just as happy with that too.
Because the other thing is like, okay, did this Bloodsport shoot this Superman, not another Superman?
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be
Like
confusing.
you can micromanage this in your head as much as you want, or you could just go with it. Like, oh yeah, you know what? In my head, he did, but if your head you don't like that, you can say, nah, that's not really the case. Like, I don't know. I don't. I I think it's fun if you look at it in a fun way, but if you're looking at it in a way to scrutinize this new universe or the reboot or rebrand, whatever you want to call it, that's on you. Like you're looking for reasons to be mad, and let's be honest, that happens a lot.
Sure. Yep.
But to me, I really don't care. And I will say, full disclosure, I did not watch the recent season 2 trailer. I think they released it Monday. But I did not watch it because the season is starting tomorrow. I didn't need to watch it. I want to go in as cold as possible, not knowing anything. And I probably am going to get away with not watching it at all prior to the season or even when the season starts.
I did watch it. The trailer, I will honestly tell you, I think it was less spoilery than the first trailer they put out.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it was going to actually cover.
I think it actually told you less about the season than the first season did, or the first trailer did. But yes, you can drive yourself nuts with this stuff, like what's canon, what's not, because it's like, okay, what you heard about maybe Kinnaman reprising his role. So how does that factor into canon? Is it flashbacks, or is Rick Flag Sr. in both universes, and Kinnaman's flag died in both? What's what? Is this new world
Yeah.
going to have a fully alive Rick Flag Jr.? Who knows? We'll have to.
And does that therefore make the first, like, does that make the first Suicide Squad canon by default? That's the thing that I always find hilarious. And to me, if I want it to be canon, I can make it canon if I want. I don't know. I think you can have fun with this the same if as long as you're willing to go with things and make it make no sense in your own head, because like comic canon never made sense. It never will make sense. So why are we so married to it in movies? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, just to move on to that, on from that, I'm really excited for this season of Peacemaker. First of all, let's give it its flowers. Did anybody think that Peacemaker season 1 would be as good as it was? Because I mean, just coming off of this rewatch, I love that show. Is it raunchy and way over the top and not at all accessible for anybody except for the adult crowd? Yes, but at the same time, it's so much fun. That is a really fun show.
Oh, it is so, you know, just totally off the wall insanity, and yeah, a very potty mouth humor, immature humor. And there are still, listen, I have a lot of fun with the show. It is way better than I ever expected it to be. I think there are moments still that make me roll my eyes because it's just too much. But I still am shocked that we have a Peacemaker season 2 that I'm anticipating because of how much I loved season 1. And I'll be honest, I tried reading today. I tried reading the original Peacemaker comic book. It was like a mini series. I think it was like 4 or 6 issues from 1988. This is his introduction into DC, I think, because he was originally, what was it, Charlatan Comics, right? That's the one that Watchmen was based off of. I think it was
Charlton, yeah.
Charlatan. Yeah. I couldn't get into the comic, I'll be honest with you. It was not for me. So I think Gunn succeeded in making this version of Peacemaker the most interesting. I know a lot of people are iffy on Vigilante. He grew on me. He wasn't the character I expected him to be, or maybe even wanted, but I don't have this like huge love affair with Vigilante in the comics, so I really could go with it.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that's Gunn's point, is Gunn likes to take he likes to change things up a little bit if it's his story, but he still wants to use comics characters. And I mean, I think it's fun that way. He still has the costume. I love that. I mean, Vigilante's costume is perfect. Peacemaker's costume is perfect. He goes full comic booky Gun, and I definitely love that.
Well, not to mention, I think James Gunn has a really keen talent for taking, and I'm sorry for all the vigilante fans out there if you take offense to this, but he has a knack for taking obscure, not as well known characters and tweaking them enough to make them, very interesting for an audience that wouldn't normally, consume that character's material. So I mean,
Mhm.
like whether it be Polka Dot Man, who let's face it is below a D level villain for Batman or whoever, from Polka Dot Man to Ratcatcher to Peacemaker to Vigilante. I mean, shoot, even Engineer in Superman. He just takes these
Yeah.
characters and does really interesting things with them. And I appreciate that because even if it's not so beholden to the comic book version, it's a character that I really would know nothing about otherwise, you know?
And he's doing something that works for the story more than just finding like the vigilante that we know from the comics might not work in this story, but he wanted to use something similar, so he tweaked it a little bit. And yeah, like you're like, I apologize if everyone is, or someone is a huge vigilante fan and thinks this is a disservice to the character. I get it if you're, into that, but I don't know. I'm okay with it for certain instances. I don't think we were ever going to get, a vigilante movie like he was in the comics. I don't think his character stands out enough to do something like that, in my opinion.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, even the Guns, I want to say his own admission. I can't remember which character it was if he was talking about Polka Dot Man, but he's even admitted like he will Google like he will literally just Google obscure DC character, and he'll like pick someone from that list because he wants someone from the comics, but he doesn't want someone that's like, um, that is someone that is so well known. And I think that's how he came across Polka Dot Man. I'm not sure if it was specifically Polka Dot Man or Weasel or one of the obscure characters from the Suicide Squad. I'm almost positive that's how he came across them. And I thought that was cool that like he admits it and it's just fun because he wants someone that has comics precedence, but he can kind of do what he wants with them and nobody's going to really care if he kills them or treats them differently. And I think that's fun.
Yeah, and let's face it, I would much rather him, pull from deep within the stable of DC Comics than to just make up a cannon fodder character. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
Use that deep library of characters that otherwise are never going to get any screen time. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm equally excited to see more of. We know we're going to see some of the Justice Gang in this season of Peacemaker. We've seen clips of Nathan Fillion, Sky Gardner. We've seen Hawkgirl. We've seen Maxwell Lord. So that'll be fun to see. I'm sure it's gonna again. I'm sure it's gonna be some of that quantum unfolding chamber. I'm sure he's being interrogated for why he's in this world or something like that. But it'll be very interesting to see how they tie in those characters, and it's going to feel much different with the Peacemaker tone versus what we got in Superman. So that's going to be very interesting.
Well, real quick, I mean, spoilers for Superman, but Peacemaker is already in both worlds, kind of, because he was already in Superman, this Superman movie. And this Peacemaker is technically part of the old DCU. So that's where I really don't think they're going to explain too much with that. He
Well,
just is there,
well,
you
yeah, but
know?
in the first trailer, there's a confrontation between two Peacemakers. So I think he's kind of, at least this is the way I'm thinking of it. It seems like he's going to be taking the place of this world's Peacemaker. At least that's the conclusion I'm getting.
So you think the Peacemaker in the Superman movie is different than the Peacemaker in the Suicide Squad?
I think they're two like individual Peacemakers, but that they're virtually the same character. And I think the one that we know from season 1, this is just my speculation. I could be way off base. We'll find out soon. But
Yeah,
I feel like
I don't think they're gonna do it that drastically.
I don't think it's going to be drastic. I think this Peacemaker, from what I've gathered from the trailer, the Peacemaker that we knew and loved from season 1 and the Suicide Squad, is using this quantum unfolding chamber. He's going to go into this other world. He's basically going to kill this other Peacemaker and take his place, and it's going to be as simple as that. But I could be wrong.
So you think Superman takes place after this? Or do you think, you know what I'm saying? Or do you think that Superman is the one he's taking the place of?
Well, Gunn's already said that this takes place after Superman.
Yeah, so what you're saying is the Peacemaker in Superman is a different Peacemaker than the one in the Suicide Squad.
Yes, that's my speculation.
Okay. Because I got the impression that the one in the trailer, the one that he's taking the place of, is drastically different than the one we saw in Superman.
And it could be. We'll see. But that's just the speculation I kind of formulated from the trailers I've seen.
Yeah. And my head is already spinning thinking about all this crap. So I'm hoping it's not as not as, for lack of a better term, stupid as I'm picturing it. And I want it to just be something more plot driven than just a way to explain the canon. You know what I mean?
I absolutely think it's going to be. I think it's going to be purposefully stupid.
Well, we'll see. Because there's a lot going on in the season with Rick Flag Sr. and stuff. I hope the multiverse stuff is not as big as.
I don't think it's going to be big. I think it's being overthought. I think seriously, it's going to be purposefully stupid, and James Gunn is going to move on. Basically, like, here's your explanation. It's dumb. We're moving on, kind of thing.
Got you. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's coming.
Say hi to Margot while we're in the quantum thing, and
exactly. So moving on. One thing I do want to talk about is the upcoming slate, because we know we've got Creature Commandos that's released, we've got Superman that's released, and we have, as of tomorrow, we have Peacemaker season 2 kicking off. So, when James Gunn announced the slate for Gods and Monsters, I mean, he's made it very clear throughout, the months and now the years that he's been the head of DC, that no project is going to move forward until he's very happy with the script and they greenlight us. They give the green light on the script. So that does mean that some things have shifted. But I do appreciate that things just don't disappear like they did in some of the old regimes. He's very transparent, and he does give us updates, and that's nice. It's a nice change. But thus far, I wanted to look at what we currently have in various states of either development or production. So again, Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker season 2. Those are what we've got so far. Coming next year, so far as movies, we have Supergirl, June 26th. We have Clayface, September 11th. And then on the TV side, we have Lanterns in early 2026. So no hard date yet, but that's in post-production. So they've wrapped filming on that. Clayface is in pre-production, and then Supergirl is in post-production. They've got that one wrapped up. So out of those projects, Joe, Supergirl, Clayface, Lanterns, what are you, out of those three projects, what are you most interested in? What's got your attention out of the three the most?
That's a tough question because Lanterns can go either way for me. If I see a trailer and I see what we fear Lanterns is going to be, where it's completely Earth based and there's no costumes and it's just two guys walking around, that drops to the bottom. If we get a trailer and I see actual Green Lantern costumes, um, superhero action, comic booky villains, that is my number one.
Mm.
And I don't need to see that for all 6 or 8 episodes or whatever it is, but the promise of that, I'm really looking forward to our first on-screen Jon Stewart, another Hal Jordan. I want to see the Lantern Corps represented well on screen. I don't care that it's a street level thing. I just want the lore to be accurate, and it to be I want it to exist in a comic book world. Um, and that will be my number one if that is the case for that show. In James Gunn, I do trust. I mean, this is a guy that has John Cena in costume all the time on the Peacemaker show for no reason whatsoever. So I really
True.
hope that Gunn I really hope that Gunn would not want Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan not in costume for a whole series. I hope he would step in and be like, guys, come on, like we want this to be gritty and realistic and whatever you guys want to do, but you gotta give the fans what they want to. So like I hope he's there to kind of fit that middle ground with that show. But if that is if that's what I'm fearing more and we don't get any good trailers for that and they're saving everything and I'm just not seeing what I want, it's going to be Supergirl, which is kind of a cop out because we're only talking about 3 projects and I named 2 of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, Supergirl is very intriguing because I want to see in the second film in the DCU, let's see what they mean when they're saying each director is going to have their own style and their own vision and each film is going to look different. Because if that movie is taking inspiration from the comic Woman of Tomorrow, that better have a really damn different tone than Superman.
Interesting. So for me, first of all, I want to address what you said about lanterns. Because I know you said what we all fear from lanterns, and because we've heard like the True Detective comparisons and things like that. That fear has honestly gone away from me once that James Gunn made it very clear that Guy Gardner is in this show, and the Guy Gardner that
I'm
I
glad you
saw
brought
in
that up.
Superman, I don't see any way you can fit that type of character in the show that we had fears about, if that makes sense.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking that while I was talking, and that has definitely eased my concern because he's not having the Guy Gardner from Superman in street clothes on that show. Like I don't see that happening. Um, I don't see that being an issue. But again, and when I say fear is a strong word because I think I would still even enjoy it if it's a good quality show to Watchmen level, because these are the guys that brought us Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
I will be a little disappointed that it's not as comic booky as I would like, but I'm here for a 6 or 8 episode series that is that quality, regardless of whether we get them in their costumes for more than 20 minutes. Again, you give me a good show and put them in their costumes for some comic book action in the finale, you probably are going to get me because you're going to end on a high note. I will be frustrated going there, but I'll still be happy and tuning in because it's entertaining. I mean, I watched 8 episodes. Was it 8 episodes or 10 episodes of The Penguin? Um, when it's basically just The Sopranos, but it was a good quality show, and I tuned in every week and was excited to watch every week. So the quality is much more important to me than the costumes. But please just end with the costumes to keep me happy. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point. I mean, Damon Lindelof is attached to this, which he did the Watchmen series, and Tom King is attached to it as well. Now, while me and Tom King don't always see eye to eye on story, he absolutely believes in the comic bookiness of stories, um, and
Yes.
and Damon Lindelof. I mean, I think he went even more comic booky with the TV series than Zack Snyder did for the movie. I mean, he included the giant squid, for goodness sakes, in Watchmen the
And
series.
let's be honest, I did that show got more comic booky as it went on,
It
way
did.
more comic booky than I think we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. So to go to kind of come back to the main point of what I asked you, because I went off on a tangent there. I'm not fearful of lanterns. Um, Supergirl is very, very intriguing, kind of like you said. I'm very curious how they're going to adapt that story and how close they're going to stick to it. But for me, the number one project out of these three that we know for a fact are coming next year, for me, it's Clayface. And honestly, the moment that I found out Mike Flanagan was involved and he had written this story, this shot to the top of my list. And I'm so fascinated to see a DC movie written by my favorite storyteller in like the last 20 years, because I adore
Mhm.
virtually everything that Mike Flanagan touches and that he's done. And also, I mean, then they announced James Watkins is directing. And you know, he did Speak No Evil last year. And it was one of I mean, it was in my top 10 of the year last year. I really loved that movie. So you take two people who are very good at horror, and you're doing a horror related comic book movie with a character like Clayface. For me, that's number one. I'm so intrigued with this. And what's weird is I don't know
Yeah, I mean,
anything. I don't know nearly as much about this as I do Supergirl and Lanterns. That's the weird part.
well, I think that's going to be like my intriguing, pleasant surprise as we get closer to it, because it's the final thing we're getting next year. Where
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely more in anticipating the other two, but everything you said, to a lesser degree, I echo, because I love Mike Flanagan. I enjoyed Speak No Evil. They did just announce a 4K steelbook of that. If you're interested, I did
Mm.
see that recently. Um, because I don't even know if that ever got a physical release. So I I'm that's gonna be like the hey, Supergirl just came out and it was awesome. What else do I got to look forward to? Oh, that's right. We're getting a Clayface horror film. Like it's going to be like a nice little capper in the at the end of the year, kind of like Peacemaker is right now for after Superman. You know, like you come off that high of a blockbuster movie, and then hey, don't forget we got this other thing coming out, and that's kind of the fun thing. Like I'm glad that they're not rushing into production on anything. They're taking their time, but we're still getting a good taste each year of things. I mean, like you were saying, you wanted to go over the slate. Yes, some things we haven't heard much about, but Clayface was never even in the discussion. And look how quick that went into production or pre-production, because it had a good script, it had a good story. Gunn said, "You know what? This is going to be a lower budget thing and this can work. You want to do this? It works. Let's go." And that's what they're doing right now. They're prioritizing the script, and that is so important, and I'm so excited that they're doing that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love that this wasn't originally part of the plan, and somebody just brought you a product that James Gunn was like, "Yeah, we have to do this." So I like the flexibility there, because I feel like that, in the previous regimes that Warner Brothers and DC has had, and even if you look at Marvel, like I don't feel like that's something that's going to happen. It just that's not part of the plan. It's not part of the structure. Maybe down the road I feel like it is would be the thinking of those other groups I mentioned. But to have that flexibility and to know, this, I think this is the best product for the time right now, and it's ready to go. So let's get started. I really like that mindset.
Yeah, it's like you said, like maybe down the road they would do that, but like we don't have time for the script that's ready. Let's go put this movie into production where we don't even have a script, but we got a date to meet. Like that's what I don't want, and that's what's been happening for so long with Marvel, and DC has just been all over the place the last few years with their stuff. I mean, we don't know the ins and outs of it, but it just seems like from what we're hearing, they're really getting a handle on, and Gunn has been so consistent with his talk of script first, that it's so nice to hear him say we are not doing anything without a script, and
Mm-hmm.
that is so important when we're going into production. And he said, like, even I think it's the authority, and I don't want to jump the gun because I know you were going to talk about the slate, but like the authority is a perfect example of the one that they said they just couldn't craft the script. They had a good I think that's the one where they said they had a director attached, or they couldn't. I might be getting that confused with Sergeant Rock, but they said they just couldn't crack the script. And it doesn't matter what director we have attached. If we can't crack the script, we're not going into production. So they're waiting. And he has said, like, they keep reporting these movies as canned. They're not canned. He's just not moving forward with them until they're ready.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what he said in that interview, on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, he said, it's not going away. It's just it's not ready at this point. So we're not, and I appreciate that. I think he said recently, we're not making movies to hit a release date. We're making
Yeah.
movies when they're quality and when they're ready. And I'm paraphrasing there, but I like that, because I mean, it's easy to throw a movie date on a calendar and say, okay, we got to get here. But I feel like that just puts undue pressure on you. And then you run into the situation where there's no way you can meet the expectations. So to make sure you have it, nailed
Yeah,
down
I
before you
agree.
ever
It's just
start.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see that again. I want to see, and I don't want to see universe building be the priority. I want to see good movies. It seems like even with Clayface, they're going to find a way to fit it into whatever the Batman story is that they want to tell, or it's not going to connect at all yet. So it doesn't matter. It's just its own good story. And either way, it's refreshing that that's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, but you had talked about, I had mentioned jumping into the slate. So we talked about the ones that we know are coming. Let's talk a little bit about the ones that currently are in various stages of development. You mentioned the Authority. Currently, that's the only project on the slate that has no creatives attached whatsoever. So it does. I mean, it really does feel like they've stalled out on the Authority. The only piece of the Authority that we have so far is the engineer from Superman, because
Mhm.
she's attached to the Authority as a group. I do feel like, though, if that's something that never happens, there wasn't really anything said about the Authority in Superman, so you're not beholden to it. So there's that.
And real
Uh,
quick, I also want to bring up that as far as the script for the Authority goes, they are trying to write the script. I like that Gunn didn't say X person is attached to the Authority and writing the script. No, he's not going to divulge that information until they have a script. So it's not like we're getting that information. So again, I mean, if he did, I don't remember him saying who was writing the script for the Authority, but I also am glad that it seems like they're not leaking a lot of information prior to when they want us to know, which is another thing we always complained about with the old regime.
Which, yeah, and that's the interesting portion I wanted to talk about, Joe, because like I said, the Authority is currently the only piece of the puzzle that does not have any creatives attached. The other projects do at least have screenwriters. So it's interesting
Mhm.
that the Authority is kind of just that outlier, because we know that that Supergirl writer Anna Nogueira, she is writing a Teen Titans film, and she's also writing a Wonder Woman film. So we have those two in development. Swamp Thing
But
is
I would
still,
argue it seems like that means they had a treatment they liked at least.
yes, I would agree.
It seems like he's not announcing that information until we have at least a treatment where he's like, good, I'm happy with that. Now we can announce it.
Yeah. We've got Swamp Thing that is still kind of hovering out there with James Mangold listed as director and screenwriter. I know that James Mangold is apparently extremely busy from what we heard from James Gunn, and that he's still planning on doing it. It's just a matter of when he can get time. Having him still attached and his name on it makes me think kind of similar to what you just said about Anna Nogueira's work. I feel like he must have at least had a treatment that he saw from Mangold that he likes, you know?
Yeah. Or at worst case, a pitch.
Yeah. Or a pitch. Yeah. We have a name I don't know. Matthew Orton is attached to the Bane and Deathstroke film that we've heard a little bit about. So he's attached as screenwriter, and then Sergeant Rock still has a screenwriter, Justin Kurz. I can't pronounce his last name, but it's got a screenwriter. And then most recently, we have found out that there's a Superman family film that is in development with James Gunn as the writer and director. So movie wise, I mean, you've got Swamp Thing, Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, Bane and Deathstroke, Sergeant Rock, and Superman Family. A lot of interesting angles there.
Can I cut you off real quick?
Yeah.
Everyone keeps saying it's a Superman family movie. James Gunn has said it's in the Superman family when describing the movie.
Sure.
He has not said it's a Superman family movie.
But I think where that's coming from, though, is he's been very specific that he adores the Superman family comics that he grew up on. So I think people are just inferring that as it's one of his favorite, comics related things ever. Why wouldn't he want to do it? But again, yeah, that's just speculation at this point.
Yeah. Because now they're calling it the Superman saga of film.
Yeah.
That he's working on.
So I mean, I really don't know that we can gauge any excitement there, just from screenwriters being attached. I mean, clearly the Superman follow up or whatever it is. I trust James Gunn enough now as director and writer that is instantly very appealing to me that he's doing something else. I hope he continues to sprinkle in writing and directing amongst, doing the CEO stuff, because I think DC is going to be better for it. The one piece I didn't bring up in that slate of movies, because this is a Batman show. I really want to dive into it, Joe. You might not be as comfortable with this portion, because I think this is going to be maybe the most divisive conversationally that we've been in a while. Andy Muschietti is still attached as of right now as director. We have no screenwriter attached to The Brave and the Bold, but we have Andy Muschietti. Do you feel like this is an Andy Muschietti thing at this point, that we don't really have movement on this, or do you feel like this is a Matt Reeves thing that we don't have movement on this, or do you think it's something completely separate?
I'm curious why you think we'd be divisive. Me and you be divisive, or fans in general?
Just fans in general. And I have an opinion, and it's probably going to be different than most people would think it is. So I kind of wanted to gauge where you're at with it first.
I still do not believe Matt Reeves' Batman is going to be part of the DCU. I don't
either. My core, just to make that clear.
We've been lied to so many times. And I think it's easy to speculate, because we've had no movement on Brave and the Bold to counteract that argument. So, what is the holdup on Brave and the Bold if it has nothing to do with Matt Reeves' involvement? Um, as far as Andy Muschietti goes, they have never said he's no longer attached. He was invited to the Superman premiere, right? Wasn't he
Mm-hmm.
there?
Yep.
Um, but they've also not really made it clear that he is still attached. They're kind of ignoring him. Um, for lack of a better phrase. Like he's just not mentioned. Um, they've been very, very strange with the way they've discussed the Batman in the DCU. They're they're not discussing it. Like they're just avoiding it. They've almost been as more open with Wonder Woman lately than they have been with Batman. um I don't know. I'm confused as to why they're being so coy with it because they were so upfront with it back in 2023 when this was announced. They were very
Mm-hmm.
clear that it was not going to be Matt Reeves, and nothing has changed since then. Other than the Batman being delayed and delayed and delayed. Like, why would that make it more of a reason for Matt Reeves' Batman to join? If anything, it's more of a reason for him to not be part of it. So I don't understand. Or is it because they don't know what they're going to do because they expected Matt Reeves' as the Batman Part 2 to be out already? So they had plenty of time after that to start their own Batman? Where now it's like, well, come on, when are we going to even put out the Batman, the Brave and the Bold if Matt Reeves' Batman isn't until 2027? So I don't know what they're thinking, and I am glad I'm not the one making the decisions because I would probably make the wrong decisions for selfish reasons. Because I
Mm-hmm.
would be like, all right, Matt Reeves, shit or get off the pot. Sorry. And I would say, let's we're doing what we need to do here, regardless of what you're doing, unless Matt Reeves, for some reason, has some control over what they do with the Batman in their universe. I don't know, because he is a producer on all this other stuff and they want to keep him happy because they like what he's doing. There's a lot to dissect there. And personally, it's not really even for me to pretend like I know what the hell's going on with it because it's so bizarre. And I want Batman in the DCU. I don't want it to be Pattinson, and that's not because I don't like Pattinson. I just don't think. I think they've been pretty adamant on him not being included in the DCU. But on the other hand, I think what makes Batman interesting is Batman going from a realistic world like Pattinson's to being thrown into a world with all this other crazy stuff. I think that is interesting if they want to go that way. But I just don't see them doing that. I don't see them making that jump in live action. I think in comics, going from like a year one comic to like a Justice League comic is really fun because that's what makes comics what they are, is that different balance. And I
Mm-hmm.
think Batman working that way is really interesting because that's, you know, the escalation of what Batman is facing. But I'll let you say, you know, your piece because I rambled on there for a lot and said a lot about nothing. But
Yeah.
I'll let you
No,
go.
I mean, I appreciate your opinion on it. A lot of it I absolutely agree with. I don't want to see Pattinson in the DCU. I think it's a clear delineation of style, and I don't see Pattinson and Corn Sweat standing side by side. It doesn't fit in my brain, and I think you're going to alienate too many fans on both sides of that. We've got enough divisiveness as it is without trying to do that. Um, I do feel like though at this point, I feel like there's some weirdness going on with Batman and Matt Reeves. Like just in general, overall. I think there's some weirdness going on with timelines. I think it feels like everything Batman is just like, we're not talking about it. You know, James Gunn, like he made the brave and the bold announcement with that whole slate. He seemed excited about Batman, and ever since then, it's like we're keeping Batman at arm's length. And I know that Batman is one of his favorite characters of all time, and it just feels so weird and strained. And I'll be honest with you.
Well,
And this is where it gets kind of divisive for me, because I know this is probably gonna upset some people, and I'm sorry, but it's the way I feel at this point, and it's weird because I adore that first the Batman. I adore that movie. I defend it a lot, but I'm to the point where if the Batman Part 2 was sacrificed so I could have the Brave and the Bold in that slot in 2027, I would do it today. Like, hands down, I would say go for it. And I don't think you need to sacrifice one over the other. I still think there's some weirdness about having two Batmen at the same time, and I don't know why that is, because it's weird. Because why? People understand the difference.
For argument's sake, this is the thing I don't get. They're already talking about fast tracking a Superman quote unquote sequel, the Superman family sequel, which would be coming out prior to the Batman Part 2.
Yeah.
So the script is done for the Batman Part 2, but they're not moving forward any quicker. Like, you would think a movie like the Batman Part 2 has much less visual effect. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but you mean to tell me if they went into pre-production, which they're probably in pre-production at this point, for a sequel, so most of the cast is already locked down. He had to have had some idea of what was going on over the course of the last year. As far as sets and all that stuff go behind the scenes, give them a few months to do all that kind of stuff. Why are we still at the end of 2027 for that movie? There's a lot that I just don't understand. And if that movie was still coming out in 2026 and then The Brave and the Bold could be 2027 or even early 2028, that's not terrible if you want a little bit of a gap there. But I think right now, with the Batman Part 2 being the end of 2027, they don't know where they're going to put The Brave and the Bold. So they're kind of like, well, let's just wait and see what happens, because it's going to be weird if we have the Matt Reeves Batman coming out. Like, it sounded good in theory when this was all starting, but they're probably second guessing, well, do we really want two Batman in the theater while we're like really deep into this new universe? And I'm all for it. I would love to have two different Batmen, but I just think it gets dicey now because, wait a second, it was one thing when people were thinking about Matt Reeves' Batman because it was only 2 years ago. It's really weird if you're coming out with a sequel 5 years later and you're like, wait a second, so this is a sequel to Batman, but this isn't the Batman that's going to be in the Superman movie. When's that come out? And like, we're still getting a sequel to Pattinson's Batman. Like, that was so long ago. I thought that was done, because that's what people are going to say, because people don't pay attention to this stuff. If it's been 3-4 years, people are like, wait, we're getting a sequel to that? Like, I figured that was just a one and done.
Yeah. And it's really frustrating too, because again, I mean, I feel like I'm the key audience for the Batman Part 2, and I know we've got, the production date set to start, after the first of the year, sometime early spring of 2026 or whatever it is. But
and I keep saying, why? Why so far away?
Yeah, why? And I don't get it either. But the longer we go, and I understand there's been long gestating sequels and things like that. But I mean, if we look at the most recent examples, that's not always the best idea. And I'm going to look at other directors who have done it successfully. I mean, they were doing work in between, work that we could see, tangible work. I understand if there's stuff going on outside of Matt Reeves' control. I get that. But at a certain point, maybe it's time to hand the reins to somebody else if we intend to be intentional and to get products out and to move forward. But at this point, I'm just a little frustrated and I'm ready to move on.
Yeah, and I'm not even looking at it as a gripe with Matt Reeves. As
No,
much
I'm not
as,
either.
like, I feel more for at this point, what is the audience thinking? The general audience, not us. And I'm kind of in the middle with the Batman. Like, I say to you all the time, I never really have a desire to watch the Batman, but when I do watch it, I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good movie. I just never, it's not the one, like, I'll defend it, but I'm also not, like, over the moon defending it. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's exceptional. I'm pretty, like, wishy-washy with it, to be honest with you. But at this point, what does the general audience even care leading up to the movie? Now, listen, it's a Batman movie. If the trailers come out and they're good, people are going to say, oh, cool, a new Batman movie. But I think the general audience is going to see a new Batman, which Pattinson is their new Batman, and a new Superman, and go, wait, they're not in the same universe? Then why are we still getting this Batman?
I'm going to give you.
I can't really defend that to a general audience person. Like, that's confusing for me to even try to explain that. I think if you're going to do that, you almost have to have the new Batman out and ready, because then you can say, no, this is the Batman with Superman. This is something different. I don't know what the answer is. And that's why I'm glad I'm not making these decisions, because I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a little piece of speculation that could or could not be nothing. Do you remember when everything launched, they talked about the DCU and then they talked about the Elseworlds brand? That the Batman was going to fall into. What was the other little side universe that was going to fall into that Elseworlds brand as well? Joker.
Oh yeah. Did they ever give it the title?
I don't think so. I don't think
Did Joker 2 ever have the Elseworlds title?
I don't think it did, but they were clearly separate, and those were supposed to be the two Elseworlds, that
along with the Penguin, which the Penguin never got the Elseworlds title.
Nope. But I mean, Joker 2 had a historic crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if the Elseworlds brand is viable at this point with DC Studios.
Well, they were pretty quick to put Clayface in universe, when I think the speculation from all of us was Clayface originally was going to be Elseworlds. And James Gunn said, no, that's going to be DCU.
Yep.
And think about all the other stuff. Remember the Arkham stuff that was going to go to HBO Max? That changed numerous times, and eventually they said it was going to be DCU, but we haven't heard anything about it since.
Yeah, and that's not even... I mean, because the TV shows right now that are on the slate, Booster Gold, Waller, Paradise Lost, Blue Beetle, Creature Commando Season 2, and Mr. Miracle. So we don't even have any Arkham stuff.
New Adventures of... They did just say the Adventures of Green Lantern animated show is not going to be DCU. It's going to be separate. I don't think they used the term Elseworlds, but they said it might be in the same world as Adventures of Superman. I'm not sure.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, just speculating, but maybe the juice isn't worth the squeeze on having Elseworlds titles, especially if our most successful one, we're only going to get one every 5 to 6 years.
But if that's the case, why have they now said the Batman Part 2 script is done and it's going in pre-production? That stopped it from being stalled. That moves it forward in the zeitgeist a little bit.
No, I mean, I definitely think that movie is coming out. I think it's just there's a lot of weirdness over why that one has taken so long, and for some reason we've had no movement on the Brave and the Bold.
I think
And
the only
what's
reason that movie is coming out is because it's the Batman, because it's a Batman movie, and
yeah.
because Matt Reeves, I think, has a good relationship with Gunn or Safran, and you know the movie did make money. Let's not pretend it didn't make money. I don't
No,
think it was the
it
hit
was a
that,
very
you
successful
know.
film.
I don't know how the general audience feels about the movie, but I mean, it's hard to gauge that as comic book nerds because we do not see what the general audience sees. It's very different, but like it's very odd to me. It's because I have not had any general audience people come up to me and be like, hey, when are we getting a sequel to the Batman? You know what I mean?
Well,
But I don't
again,
know.
I mean, it's a 2022 movie, but are people
Yeah,
even thinking in
it's
the
not
general
in
audience? Are
people's.
people even thinking about
No, they're thinking about Superman because Superman just
it?
came out, and
Yeah.
if Batman comes up, they're going to say, "Hey, when are we getting Batman to meet Superman in this movie?" So I don't know. It's a very weird. The Batman dynamic right now is very, very odd.
Yep. Agreed. But yeah, I didn't want to get so negative in that, but I will say this to be definitive on this. As a fan of that first movie, I'm very frustrated over where we're at with the sequel, and I want more
And a
than
fan of the
anything.
Penguin.
Yeah, yeah, at the Penguin as well. I thought that was a fantastic show. Um, but yeah, yeah, we'll just leave it alone. We'll leave it alone at that. But yeah, kind of frustrated, and that's the only thing with DC, like DC Studios right now, that I am frustrated with. But it's I feel like it's worth noting because it's the main focus of this show. It's our favorite character, so yeah, you're gonna be frustrated. But let's see. So I think the one last thing that we really didn't discuss with the slate. I mean, we talked about all those other shows that are coming, but none of those have really any solid dates or anything that we can talk about. The animated film, what is it? Dynamic Duo? Is that the title?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on
Yes,
that, Joe? Where do you think? Because James Gunn said whether that's DCU proper or not?
I can't remember if he said it or not. I saw a headline the other day that said it was confirmed to be DCU proper. Take that with a grain of salt because I don't remember the source of seeing it. I don't remember. I mean, people put anything up nowadays that say it's confirmed. Um, I don't know. I thought I remember him saying it was, but don't quote me on it because I really don't remember. I saw that it was Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, right? Is that what the story is?
Was that who it was? Yes, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, the Robins.
And that's coming out when 2028.
That is the current date. Which
Yeah,
with the type of animation that they're because it's kind of like that the CG animation. Those take a
it's
while.
almost like motion capture animation, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I hate to bring this back just around after we just moved on, but are we gonna have this before we have any indication of Batman in the DCU?
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is with that, or is Batman going to just kind of show up in other movies like he did in the last DC universe, and he's not going to get a solo movie? Um,
Gosh, I hope not.
I mean, I don't know what's going on with it, and sadly, that movie's been in production for so long. I mean, not so long, but it doesn't come out till 2028. Part of me is like, man, if it's going to take that long and that much effort, can we just have a live action dynamic duo? I feel like it'd be easier or quicker, but that's different. I don't want to slight the animation side of things because it should be a really cool movie, and
Well,
maybe it's
yeah,
a little bit of a. I
those
mean,
are
maybe it's
long
budget
gestating.
friendly. I don't know.
Those are long gestating projects. Look at the third Spider Verse movie.
Good
Sometimes
point. Very good
those
point.
run into yeah, those could take a while sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very interested in this. I mean, if you told me we were getting like a Robin team up, I don't know that Dick Grayson and Jason Todd would be the two that immediately come to mind, which is odd because we just had Titans and we kind of had that dynamic a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I like it though, because I feel like the situation it's going to be. I feel like we know we're getting Damian Wayne as the primary Robin, right? In the DCU, because that's
Do
the
we
Brave and
even
the
know anymore?
it. I mean, that's what we heard way back when. Um,
I'm almost to the point now where like I don't even know what to believe anymore with that movie.
yeah, but if that's still the case, I like that at least we get to see a project with the other Robins. I mean, I'd like to see Tim Drake's name attached to this as well, but getting the original two Robins and kind of getting, so even if it's animated but in the same world, seeing that's a very intriguing prospect to me. That they're not just being ignored and saying yes, those Robins existed, but we're not going to do anything with them. I like that we're doing something different, but we're still getting them. Am I making sense there?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, yeah, and listen, like you said, I would love Tim Drake to be included. It does seem to be that he is always the one that is left out when they try to fit in a certain amount of Robins. Um, and I guess with modern times, unfortunately, he is the one that draws the short straw. Us being the age that grew up with him, we definitely feel slighted. But I get it. In the comics right now, Damian is the popular Robin. He is the current Robin. You have Dick as Nightwing. Jason brings a little bit more to the table because of his Red Hood stories. And I just wish they could find a way in some way to incorporate Tim, but it gets to be a lot, especially the general audience doesn't know that there are multiple Robins for the most part. So, um, they have a lot to juggle there, and I give them credit for even attempting, let's go multiple Robins and go with Damien and go with Jason and go with Dick. Let's start there and see what we can do. Leave the door open at least. And yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of Batman family movies, but we don't know where they're going to fit with the actual Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm very excited for what they're going to do with this. I like including animation into the total aspect of the DCU, especially with James Gunn's mentality of you don't have to watch everything to be current. So because it's inevitable that most likely with a comic book animated film, you're probably going to get less eyes on it than a live action movie, but that's okay. Um, I I like that we're making different tonality, different styles of filmmaking, but keeping it in universe. I think that's cool. So it's something I'm looking forward to. Joe, to kind of wrap it up here on our kind of state of the DCU conversation we're having, this is kind of a tricky question because I want you to put yourself back in, and we're not comparing the two universes because I've said before I'm not going to do that. Um, I want you to put yourself back in the mindset of 2013 Joe. You've just seen Man of Steel, so it kicked off that universe. Now 2025 Joe, you've just recently seen Superman. We're kicking off this universe. How are you feeling about where we stand with DC going forward in the movie theater or now on TV compared to how you felt in 2013 after you saw Man of Steel?
Well, I'm probably the wrong one to ask because in 2013, I did not realize how divisive Man of Steel was. Um,
That's
I don't
why I
think
want to
I
know because I
realized
didn't
that right
either
away.
for quite a while.
Yeah, it was different times. And retroactively, people have hated on that movie way more than they did back in 2013. So, and I don't think we weren't in that. we weren't in that. I mean, the MCU was obviously big, but we weren't in that universe building mode like we are now. It was,
Right.
hey, I wonder what they're gonna do next. Not,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get this, and we're gonna get this. It was more of a curiosity than what we know now with this. I'm definitely more optimistic or anticipatory of what's coming. Is that a word? Anticipatory? um, I'm anticipating
It is now,
things
sure.
way more because I know more now. Where then, I mean, we just knew about BVS a couple months later or a month later at San Diego Comic-Con. That was it. I wasn't thinking about anything past that for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're building towards a universe. I think Gunn has been way more upfront than DC was back then about everything. I I will say when we got that original slate, which was what, 2014 when we got that slate, the infamous slate that never was. I don't think I'm as hyped now as I was then because I think that was just otherworldly at that point. That was, I guess, that was Comic Con of 2014 when we got that slate, right? Was that a Comic Con or was that a like a one of those stupid uh what is it? The stockholders calls. What are those called? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
When did we get that actual slate?
I can't remember. You're talking about an earnings report, and
It
I
was
don't know
definitely,
if
yeah. It was before BVS though, right?
I
Or was it after BVS when we got
I
that
can't
slate?
remember. It's been so long
It
ago,
had to
but
have been
I know
before
what you're talking
BVS.
about.
Yeah. So again, it's just I'm at the time I was super confident, blindly and foolishly confident. Um, where now I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I'm content to move forward and enjoy whatever we get. It's a different time after all the turmoil we went through, the ups and downs of loving a movie, finding out everyone else hated it, loving a movie, finding out everyone else hating it. We're not getting a sequel. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. But why not? This and that. I like that it seems like we're not going to jump the gun right now, or bad pun, did not mean that. We're not going to like course correct. I mean, again, luckily we don't have to course correct because Superman was a success. Um, I'm just hoping that they don't panic after one misstep. Or
Mm.
if all goes to plan, we don't even see a misstep and we just accept these movies for what they are. Everyone moves on and we are happy. I don't I
Yeah.
I'm I don't know. It's very hard to compare the two situations because it was a weird time back then. Um, and right now I'm kind of over it, or I'm just looking forward to it. Like you said, I'm staying off the internet. The internet is so annoying. I can't like anything anymore because someone will tell me I'm wrong. If you go to a Superman page, you're told Superman is better than BVS, or BVS is still better than Superman, and the same page. Like, who gives a crap? Like, I don't know. Everyone's fighting over everything now. I can't like anything. I can't disagree with anyone anymore. It's exhausting. So I'm just trying to be happy with what we're getting, and it seems like we're going in the right direction for a change.
Yeah. I think we're very much in the same boat. I mean, in 2013, coming out of the theater after seeing Man of Steel, I think the big difference between then and now is I had no even with the MCU going at the time, I had no expectations of the future. Like I didn't know if I'd ever see another Superman movie with Henry Cavill again, or any kind of
Mhm.
comic book movie with Henry Cavill as Superman again. So I mean, it was just in the moment. I think now it's a lot different. We
That
know
wasn't the
that
way we thought back then.
no, and now it's so much different because we know other things are coming, and we know that this is just a piece of the overarching world. So I'm with you. I'm very optimistic. I think back then, I was just really thrilled to have a Superman movie that I loved as much as I did, and now I'm equally thrilled that I love this movie. And I'm excited because I feel like as much as I wish there would have been a lot more positivity towards Man of Steel, and it would have been just this praised film. It is what it is. I'm happy that we do have a Superman film that does seem to be embraced by a lot of people, and it seems like as a DC fan, I'm happy that we can kind of exhale a little bit. So that's where I'm at this point in time, and I'm looking forward to what's coming next. So overall, I'd say if we're saying what's the state of the DCU as of right now, and it's way too early to give any kind of judgment on that, I think we're in a lot better spot than we've been in a long time. Joe, I don't know how you feel about that, but I just feel like we're in a good spot.
No, I agree. I think we're in a good spot as long as you stay off the comment section of the internet and
Exactly.
be just enjoy these movies for what they are and enjoy them for yourself. Pretend like we're in the bubble like we used to be, other than the fact that we can converse with each other, which is nice, through the internet and everything. I wouldn't have a lot of great friends that I have because of the internet, but we were talking before. Sometimes I wish I was in the bubble of the 90s and you just woke up and knew your own little world and that was it. You didn't know what was going on 10 minutes down the road, sometimes it was a lot easier that way. And I think with movies, just watch the movies. Don't look for other people's opinions to affect the way you think of them. And right now, at least luckily, we're kind of going towards the positive for a change. And James Gunn has been knocking it out of the park. I think it was you that said, like, has he missed in a comic book, a mainstream comic book film? He is what, he's 4 for 4 with movie, or 5 for 5 with movies, and then we got the one season of Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos was fun.
Yeah, I mean now your mileage will vary. People will ultimately have their opinions, but so far as the mass, I mean, he has not had a mainstream comic book movie or project that was not critically and audience praised. So he's in rarefied air there. I mean, I know we in the kind of movie and geek circles, people have their qualms with Guardians 2, but if you look at the receipts, you look at the audience reactions, that one generally is beloved. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
rarefied air with Mr. James Gunn in comic book movies. But Joe, we'll go ahead. We'll end it there with our chat on where we're at right now with the DCU. I did want to get to this because it's been sitting in our mailbox for a good little while now because you and I have been so busy. We got an email from Mr. Dan Kiedis, and he said, "Hi, Eric and Joe. Can't believe it's been so long since I wrote you this first email." And for reference, Joe, is way back in 2023, in April of 2023, that he first wrote us. He said, "While I'm sad that the DCEU has come to a close, I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts on this new cinematic DC universe. Listen to your Superman 25 review, and while I'm still waiting at the spoiler wall because I haven't seen the film, I really appreciated your insights." I'm assuming at this point, Dan, because it's been a couple of weeks that you've probably seen it by now. I've actually recently gotten into the YouTube video essay space, and if you could find the time, I'd really appreciate your thoughts on this video analysis of the DCEU Superman. And Dan sent me a link. It's called "Immigrant Song Defending Zack Snyder's Superman." So Joe, I'll send you that link, and you can take a look.
Yeah, definitely.
He said, "Hope you don't consider it a trashy move. I just wanted to share this with you because it was made with a lot of love and an unholy amount of time grappling with Da Vinci Resolve." Anyway, thank you again for all the free awesome, your friend Dan. Dan, you're probably talking to two people that you do not have to defend the DCEU or Zack Snyder's Superman 2. But I'm very intrigued by looking at your work and what you've done here. I know what DaVinci Resolve is, so Joe, it's a software program for creators. I've never used it myself, but I've heard it can be a beast. So yeah, I'm interested in taking a look at your work. Like I said, you don't have to defend that Superman to me, but anytime somebody is going to bat for Henry Cavill's Big Blue, I will pay attention. So I'll definitely check that out, and I'll send that link over to Joe. But thank you, Dan. We really appreciate you sending that email. And yeah, the free awesome. I don't know how awesome we are all the time, but it is free. So there's that. You can't complain about free.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for the email, and I will definitely check it out. And yeah, Eric, I'm insulted that you thought I did not know what DaVinci. Yeah, I have no idea what it is. DaVinci Resolve. I would have never even. I thought it was a saying. I thought it was like an expression that I wasn't familiar with.
I was about to be
So,
really impressed if you knew what that was.
Had no clue. So thanks for explaining that to me.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you so much, Dan. And we'll try to keep more current on on getting to our emails. You just caught us in a long gap in the summer when we were both really busy. But I think that's where we're gonna wrap it.
And also,
Joe's.
I hope you enjoyed Superman, Dan. If sorry, if you've seen Superman, hopefully you enjoyed it. I hope you're with us. That even though we loved the original DCU and loved Cavill, I hope you found some appreciation with the new film. And please write back to us and let us know what you thought, because I think the world needs more people that enjoyed both.
Absolutely. Yeah, great call out, Joe. For sure, Dan. Please let us know what you thought of Superman 25. Hopefully you've seen it by now. So let us know, have you seen it, and what did you think after seeing it? So we look forward to hearing from you again, Dan. But Joe, let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining me once again. This was a really fun chat. Just catching up on all things DC and where we're at with the new universe. So thank you for joining in on that, man.
No, this was a good idea. I'm glad you asked me to come on and do this. And I like these free, these kind of freewheeling conversations about, stuff that we like to talk about anyway. So it was fun to get on here and record for it. And, we'll, hopefully, talk about more about maybe Peacemaker going forward as that show's going on. Either way, I'm looking forward to catching that. It does premiere tomorrow at 9 p.m. So it would be Thursday, August 21st, at 9 p.m. according to a couple articles I found online.
Gotcha. Yeah, I fully intend to talk about Peacemaker in some form or fashion for season 2. We've got Sandman that just season 2 of that just came out. I'd love to do kind of an episode on the show as a whole. And then we've got spooky season coming up, so we're gonna have to figure out some. I really want to do some holiday related stuff again this year. For spooky season and for the holiday season. So we've got that all coming up quicker than you would think. Yeah, my Halloween Horror Nights trip.
If anyone is into Sandman, sorry, if anyone is into Sandman and would like to tell us, they want to hear us cover it, we're probably going to cover it anyway. But I'm curious who would even be interested in that. If anyone's watched the show or caught up with season 2, I have not watched season 2 yet. I had to rewatch season 1 to refresh my memory because it has been a few years. Yep. You have only watched the first episode, right?
Yeah, so we watched the first episode, realized that we needed to go back and rewatch season 1 ourselves. So yeah, Megan and I are still working through season 1. So we're gonna dive back into season 2 here soon.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll get into all that fun stuff as we go along with the year. Everything, the end of the year is rapidly approaching, Joe. My Halloween Horror Nights trip is a little over a week away at this point, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, Labor Day weekend is just a little over a week away. Insane. But thanks again, Joe. Why don't you let everybody know where they can find you out there on social media, where you will be ignoring comment sections?
Yeah, I'd much rather talk to you guys directly than do any of that crap. You guys can find me on X, Instagram, and Letterboxd as J411. Letterboxd, I basically just watch movies and don't really rate them or anything. I just kind of catalog them. And then Facebook as Joe Fornarato, Fornarotto.
Fantastic. And as for myself, you can find my personal accounts on Instagram, X, Threads, and Letterboxd. That's MECarter89, MeCarter89. The show can be found on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and Blue Sky. That's tfrbatpod. Again, if you'd like to support the show, the best and easiest way to do that is to leave us a rating and review on any podcast platform you listen to. If you leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, we will read those on the show. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send those to tfrbatpod@gmail.com. We read those on the show as well. If you're looking for another way to support us, and we don't ask that you spend a dime on this show, but if you'd like to, you can go to redbubble.com and search Shop TFR, all one word, and find our logos created by Justin Kowalski on all kinds of merch there. Our theme song was created by Gaurav Venkateswar, and his music can be found at gvtunes.com. That's going to do it for this episode of TFR. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and until next time, make sure you keep that bat signal lit and pointed skyward. Batman was created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane and is the sole property of Warner Brothers Discovery. The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast, is in no way associated with DC Comics, DC Studios, or Warner Brothers Discovery. The thoughts and opinions of the participants of this show are their own and do not reflect the companies that they work for. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.